Hey, Jim Fusilli from the Wall Street Journal here. If you clamor for the days of glorious rock pop art and rock posters, kind of like the ones we saw in the Fillmore East and Fillmore West back in the 60s, there's good news for you. Those days are back. If I came to a display like this and I was going to buy a poster, it would be on the basis of whether I like the music or not. Does that make any sense?
I think it probably does, because the music informs even the way you look at something, right? You bring a lot of baggage with you that tells you how to look at something. But I also think that the eye is a really sharp critic all on its own, and your eye is naturally going to gravitate to the graphics or the colors or even just the aesthetical taste that you have already brought with you.
I love M83. I don't love this poster very much. I mean, I recognize that it's artfully done, but it doesn't speak to me. How do you advise buyers who are interested in poster art?
It's basically up to the viewer. If you're familiar with the band, music and the art speak to you and speak to everyone in a different way. So a poster for M83, like this one, might not speak to you directly, but it might speak to someone else.
Most of these posters are $20. That seems very reasonable to me. Does that make them highly collectible?
Yeah, it does, because it's affordable. It's something that anybody could buy, whether it be a housewife or collector or college kid. And then you have a buyer who is aesthetically drawn to an image they would like on their wall. And then I think you also have a collector who will just collect from a specific artist.
People have been making posters since Shakespeare was, plastering up notices for his latest play. But around 1870s, the technology for lithography really evolved in a way that poster art just boomed. If you look around here, you can really see everything from of the sort of the Betty Boop era, early art pieces. You're seeing Dinosaur Jr. riff off of that. If you look around here, you can see everything from, Andy Warhol, silk screen printing, Art Deco, Art Nouveau. You can see a lot of influences. If you swing around here, you can see like 1930s Art Deco with the fonts here, but also they're kind of playing off of old movie posters from the Depression era.
Sarah, I go to a lot of concerts, and I never see these kind of beautiful posters stuck on brick walls or on telephone poles. Who are these posters for, really?
No, they are for promotion. Some of them can be for merchandise, where they're strictly sold by the band at the show. So in that case, you're seeing them on a table, on a merch table, and maybe not so much around town. But a lot of our posters have been used in windows and kiosks and around town.
Do the bands see these in advance?
Sometimes, probably most of the time. And then sometimes you're working with the venue and they see them. So you're always working with the proof back and forth, typically via email, and until you get something that's approved.
And the bands must really love that you're taking so much care with their image and their reputation.
They do. They appreciate what goes into it. All these are designed and hand printed, touched one at a time by us, and we've had some really good experiences with bands just really appreciating our hard work.
And we have American poster art with photography too.
Yeah, so really when circus posters really began circulating around the United States, that's when you really began to see American styles, showing up in poster art. Within music, that really came into its own, let's say, in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, when American photographers really started shooting things like that famous Queen 2 album from Queens where the four heads are bobbing in black. Other Rolling Stones started doing some great Patti Smith's Horses, sort of this great Robert Mapplethorpe stark American sort of photo, had a real American feel. Now with this booth, what you're seeing is a lot of architectural, environmental photography. That's showing up in a lot of albums and poster art as well. It feels really fresh. It's very spare. It's not so much about the singer and the performers being the rock stars of their own cover as it is about evoking a mood, evoking a place. So maybe Wilco, is writing about America, sort of that kind of Woody Guthrie byway, railroad culture. Now the art is trying to evoke that more than holding up the singers themselves as idols to be worshipped. It's more about evoking an atmosphere.
A lot of these sort of structures that appear in these posters are so sort of universal. I think a lot of people walk by them and they think, oh, that's right down the road from my street, even though it isn't. I never choose landmarks or anything like that. It gives people something to relate to in terms of their identity, in a sense of place.
Are you appealing to photography enthusiasts or music enthusiasts?
Well, music enthusiasts. I mean, photography, I get all the photographers, all the photographers come to my booth at these things, but I'm a hack photographer myself. The only reason that these things start to look good is when they get manipulated and turned into the screen print. So it's not a conscious appeal to photographers. It's really all about the music.